And possibly you could start off with a very short sort of capsule of what exactly you do and what is your direct focus.
Yeah, so my role at Zero Waste Malaysia is this year is director. So because very fortunately, last year December we are able to run a 1 month long fundraising campaign, because all this while since 2016, when we first started Zero Waste Malaysia as a Facebook group, all of the things and all of the events are run by volunteers fully. Yeah, so last year we started to think, oh, maybe it's time for us to form a core team so that we are able to cover some of our program costs and also operational costs. Because in order to maximize the impact, we really need to have a dedicated team to put it on force, because we have been running full on volunteers. So I also believe that Fuse Ecotier also very familiar with running in organizations with a lot of volunteers. There are a lot of coordinations required. Yeah, so last year, December, we are able to fundraise about 80,000 ringgit to support the operational and program costs for this year. So we are able to hire a full-time director, which is me, myself, and also the other 3 core team members, which is Marylyn, the head of outreach and engage, and we also have 1 head of PR and marketing, and also head of finance and funding. So my role for this year is to really get the organizations to be more structured, and also to make sure that we are able to what's the next 5-year plans for Zero Waste Malaysia. But unfortunately, this year has been quite up and downs because of COVID-19. So our current plan is to really digitize our platform and also our resource platform, so that regardless of COVID-19 or regardless of the situation right now, we are still able to continue to spread the awareness about sustainable living and also provide resources for people to live zero waste. Yeah, thank you.
Well, the situation could come to a close soon, in Malaysia at least. I think so far we are reaching the end of MCO. It looks like this, unless something terrible happens again and all our citizens are not going to be responsible. But I would like to, just since you mentioned Ecotier just now, as I read the news 2 days ago that within an hour, 1,000 rooms in Langkawi were booked out for the time that we are now allowed to cross states. And I was contacted by one of the colleagues to ask if I can use my social media platform to also remind people that this influx of tourism towards our islands in particular might bring sort of particular harm and uncontrollable, because it's just the influx, it's just a sudden rush of people that will go, and without the proper knowledge and awareness of sustainable living and holidays. And in this case, if in the case of plastic, or trying to tackle the issue of plastic, it's huge, and it's going to take many years, and it's going to take many corporations, the work of corporations and governments. For now, with Blu Hope campaign has received the full support of the UK government, and they, have come up with financial and technical support, and are also morally behind to help Malaysians become more zero waste. Marylyn, would you like to talk a little bit about your work and what you've done and what the future is for you and your team for the next 5 to 10 years?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so again, as the head of Outreach and Engage, it's still pretty new for me. I've only started in March of this year. For myself, I am responsible for, or I oversee alongside with Sui, the Zero Waste Malaysia speakers team. So the speakers team are a bunch of very talented, capable individuals who are able to provide awareness to organizations, to schools, to companies that wants to hear them talk about zero waste, sustainable living. There's also our pledge certificate team. So basically, companies, for example, so we've only launched this, I think, in September of last year. Currently, we have 4 pledges from companies such as zero waste stores and also a green wedding planner. So for companies that have implemented minimal waste in their supply chain stream, or they're able to utilize resources very efficiently, they can apply for our endorsement. We will conduct like a site visit. We will be able to provide some marketing materials for them. So this is again to recognize companies and organizations that are contributing to the circular economy, to zero waste living facilitation, not only as individuals, but as a society. And then a new exciting project that will be launched by the end of this month is the ZWM lesson, which is a series of educational modules that we target for primary and secondary school students aged 11 to 17. So again, we are yet to announce it. So once we launch it this month, we will be announcing it by end of this month or next month. So the purpose of that is to teach them young, right? To teach students about value-driven development, sustainability management, and environmental awareness, but it's specifically related to waste. So in the modules, we will be talking about what is waste actually, and where does waste actually go. There will also be, so similar to the activity sheet that Blu Hope prepared, we will also have a waste audit. So Blu Hope has an activity sheet that has a plastic audit. So yeah, ours is a waste audit.
Mm-hmm. So when you say you are going to schools and you approach companies, what exactly? How does it work? The mechanism at schools, is it an extracurricular activity? Is it inserted into the curriculum? Because I'm interested because I myself have done 2 campaigns back in 2008 and 2010, which was specifically anti-household plastic bags. And I managed to work together with 22,000 school children, primary school children. So it was a very hands-on project, but I'm wondering how the project that you're working with the school children, what is it exactly is the approach?
Yeah, so again, we try to facilitate the current situation, right? Because of earlier during, we're still having this pandemic. Earlier, schools were closed. Now we are told by the government that schools, at least for secondary school students, will reopen this month. But we try to make it into a module that is accessible to a lot of people. So it is actually so the modules can be used virtually and also in a physical classroom. So alongside with the resources and materials that we will be provided, in August and October of this year, we will also conduct free virtual lessons, again to the targeted age groups, 11 to 17 years old. So we are aiming to have at least 100 students per month. Yeah, I'm not sure if Sui wants me to talk more about it, or we can wait for the announcement that we will do.
All right. If Sui, you can let us know if you want to talk about it more, or if you'd like to keep that subject to another time.
I think, yeah, sure. Since we have a very, very good platform.
Yeah, so okay. So again, as mentioned, we will facilitate virtual classrooms to utilize the resources and modules that we have prepared. So there are 5 modules in total. It will be a 1-month-long program for the students who are signing up. So we will have a registration form and platform ready soon by this month or next month.
Okay, so what people need to do is go up to basically sign up on your Facebook page, is that right?
Yeah, so we will do an announcement and then we'll provide like a Google form link for the registration.
And this is purely voluntary, so students will do this in their own time and place.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is free. So we're providing like a free classes. So yeah.
Okay. Is Gedeon going to participate, or is he going to just watch today? Gedeon, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Well, chime in, pardon me, chime in whenever you feel like you want to. Is there something that you'd like to add on to explain your new job, or how this is working out for you, this project and this NGO?
Yep, I can just add maybe to the points of education. So as I mentioned, we also have a speakers team. And in the past, we have some corporates which they engage us to have speakers to go to their offices to give talks about zero waste or sustainable living. And this is part of their CSR projects, or in some cases, it is employees' initiatives who like to get this being spread or raise the awareness to among their colleagues. And in schools, I have personally did once, I think end of last year, because after exam and students are still in school, the teachers are running out of ideas what to do with the students. So they had us coming to their school to give talks about zero waste, and also to showcase how even a student in your day-to-day life, how you can live waste-free or how you can reduce waste gradually. And this definitely brings a huge impact, because when you see one student doing it, maybe it doesn't bring much impact, but when a group of students are doing it together, then the impact would be bigger.
Okay, thank you, Gideon. So okay, back to what else? What is it that you'd like to achieve this year? What should we be doing? And overall, in maybe the bigger picture, sort of over a decade-long sort of aim, what is it that we want to see? I mean, I know what I will personally want to see, but I will leave it to the experts for now. I'll talk later on Twitter.
Yeah, so for this year, because of pandemic situations, we also thought that by digitalizing our platform, we are also able to reach out to the communities like anyways. Yeah, but we also consider about like what Marylyn has shared about the virtual lessons. So this virtual lessons will be also facilitated by facilitators. So in the next few years, we would like to enhance this program so that we are able to reach out to more the youngsters, because we know that the young generations has the power to create an impact. But at the same time, we would also like to stress on companies, encourage all these corporates and companies to endorse under our zero waste pledge certifications, so that we could continue to inspire more companies to follow all this available zero waste pledge program, and as well as to digitalize our platform, which we would like to highlight our zero waste Malaysia map, because we know that a lot of people but do not have the access to live zero waste, and they do not know where to start. So Zero Waste Malaysia would like to build a platform that educate people on how to start from scratch. So that's why all this while we have been publishing various handbooks, such as Zero Waste Office Handbook in Bahasa Chinese, Malay, English, and Tamil. So we have like 4 languages, and it's all free downloadable online. So people like anywhere, they could just download and see, there is a full checklist for them to refer on how to reduce waste in office. And we also have a handbook which is focusing on events. So because we know that organizing an event can be very, very wasteful. But unlike this online webinar, because we are able to reduce our carbon footprint because we are doing this at home. Yeah, so in terms of like physical events, events can be very, very wasteful because of the banners, the single-use banners, and all this single-use cutleries that given out by the vendors. So we are all focusing on the resources, on continuing to push the message out. So our ideal situations is to provide a digital platform, an online resources platform for the people from any state in Malaysia to access the resources. Because right now, in the past few years, we have been reaching out most of our audience within Klang Valley. So I think our next challenges in the next few years is to reach out the message to across the whole nations, and also to really provide the resources for them to also create their community within their states. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
It is going to be an uphill battle a little bit, so I do give you all the strength in the world, and I hope you stick with it for a while. All of you, well, Marylyn and Gedeon are still quite new, and but I do hope that the passion does not leave you anytime soon, and that you find success in all the projects that you do. Public awareness is absolutely the key. We cannot succeed without having the public behind us and working together and really understanding. So really a big problem is the lack of awareness, the lack of understanding. And even when I do my films or I work with young people, and I don't know, I heard this last week, you know, like as I was passing by a group of boys who were working on something, and basically one of the comments that came up that I overheard was, "Ala, plastic je." As in sort of, oh, don't worry about it, it rips or something, I just chuck it, you know, just throw it away. It's okay, it's only plastic. And I actually personally am quite, I would like to eliminate the word, what's it called now? Can't think of it. Throwable. What's the word?
Disposable or
disposable. Everything is disposable. Okay, so it's very hard to say, like, where is the line drawn between disposable, non-disposable? Everything's disposable. I can throw away my sofa. I can throw away my car if I want to. I mean, it's disposable. I can throw away myself too. I'm also disposable. So it's just very confusing when you tell people it's disposable. And then it just enters the mindset naturally that, oh, it's a plastic fork, it's disposable. But if it was a metal fork, oh no, don't throw that away. Wash it. Plates as well. If it's just and even the thickness of plastic can really affect the psychology of people. So if it's a thin little plastic cup, or the thinnest sort of plastic plate that I often find when I'm on set, for instance, or like you said, at events where vendors will just, to make it easy for them, they don't have to wash up, they don't have to do anything, they don't have to put in that extra effort. They just buy a pile of plastic plates that are this thin, and then it's disposable. As soon as I give the public a stack of plastic plates that are, say, 0.5 centimeter thick, and is fairly solid, and I can actually sort of give them a little bit of a bruise if I bump them on the head with it, suddenly it's not disposable. So yes, it's quite important that people in schools and teachers, especially the teaching institution, really understands the chemical aspect of plastics and the breakdown of plastic, or the lack of breakdown of plastic, and what happens with it. I was very fortunate to be able to do a voiceover for a video created by Simon Christopher, and with the cooperation of, as you said, Sir David Attenborough, and other conservationists that really address this issue to the public. So I don't know if any one of you wants to elaborate a bit more about just the real communication
Yeah, so regarding to the disposable plastic that we talk about, yeah, I think it's very, very important because it's quite hard to like give it a line between disposable and reusable plastic. But what we do in Zero Waste Malaysia, it's all about education awareness. So because we understand that right now we are living in a linear economy where a lot of things or most of the things like most likely designed to be not last. So they are all made in like cheap, slightly cheaper quality so that you are able to make your next purchase very, very soon, right after the product is last. So when we communicate with our communities or any publics, we would like to emphasize that it's actually not just the responsibility of the consumer itself, but it's also the responsibility of the producers and all the stakeholders involved in creating this economy. So, but what we do in Zero Waste Malaysia is to educate people to lead by example. So by living in a reusable culture instead of a disposable culture. And if let's say we wanted to put the blame on plastic, I would say for my personally feeling, we still because plastic could be useful in terms of aircraft infrastructures or some of the furnitures. But what we're trying to emphasize on this is to reduce the single-use plastic, which is not a good quality one. For example, the takeaway containers that are given by vendors, although they are recyclable, but if let's say we are able to avoid in beforehand, then it will be the ideal case for us, because all of us as a consumer, we are able to take the responsibilities to bring our own containers to purchase, and also our buying power are able to produce an indirect voice to the producers as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think companies really do have to take a lot more responsibility for these things, and at a certain point, short-term greed is going to create long-term disaster for us, for our health, for our planet, for our oceans, especially oceans that are really, and we've seen so many videos in the last 2 years, just completely inundated with plastic. And I recently watched a supposedly cute video of otters on a beach who lost their baby and found it again. And when you actually pay close attention, these otters are living on a beach that is just completely littered in all kinds of plastic products. Let me just read out, we don't have too much time, so I'm going to go to some questions. Here's one. Plastic is a great invention, but it has unfortunately become a product of convenience, especially in the period of COVID-19. That convenience is creating the demand and steep hike to takeaways. Are you doing extra awareness campaigns during this MCO period? Marylyn, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I can chime in on that. Yeah, so we have been in the month of May, at least. If you go through our Zero Waste Malaysia Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube page, you'll be able to see a bunch of videos, live session videos that we did last month to talk about mainly zero waste. So we don't just target like plastic issues, but mainly to facilitate a zero waste living. How do you actually maintain, try to stay low waste during this pandemic? Because a lot of people are saying that it's very difficult to actually go
to cook alone at home.
Yeah, zero waste because people are stocking up on like canned food. So yeah, if any of you are interested to check out the resources, they're available there. But we do what we can, right? During the, pandemic is already there are a lot of like situations happening globally right now. So we do what we can to maintain our environmental stewardship.
Then another question that we have here on the screen. In your opinion, how could the current waste management infrastructure, full stop? Okay, the sentence is not quite complete there, I believe, especially in the recycling angle. Okay, so this person would like to know more about the recycling point of view of things. As we know, or as I've tweeted as well many times, last year when it was suddenly many cases of plastic products that were shipped to our beautiful country by first world countries, and just sort of dumped in any corner in states of Malaysia that people could find, until the former minister sort of stepped in with a stronger voice and said this is not acceptable and we're going to send it back. Unfortunately, yeah. So one of the countries that were highlighted was the UK. I know also I spoke to a German reporter who came here to cover the issue of environment. He also said that he was brought to a site where he saw a lot of German plastic products that were sold to the, as in, were marketed in Europe as recycled, or as going to be recycled. And then in the end, it's not. It's just being shipped over to other countries like China, Malaysia, possibly Africa. Has anybody, and maybe Sui, do you want to say something?
Yeah. Yeah, coincidentally, last year, we are also quite honored to be invited to participate a waste management trip and recycling trip in Germany with the former Ministry of Environment and also SW Corp representative and SWM Environment. Yeah, so
That's good.
yeah, so during that period, during that visit, it was quite eye-opening to study how the infrastructures in Germany and also how does the waste management system works there. So we truly fascinated how the waste management facilities in Germany are able to close the financial loop, because their waste management infrastructures and also the corporations is publicly owned. So it's not like the case in Malaysia, because our waste management corporates is privately owned. Yeah, and also they share about how they increase the recycling demand. But also during that visit, of course, the main topic is also dive into what's happened to the recycling waste that's being sent to Malaysia. So we find that certainly the recycling rate can be quite high in European countries, because they are also consider the calculations of waste being sent to other countries for recycling purpose. Yeah, so whenever we receive the waste, not the waste, but the recyclable waste that we receive in our countries are unfortunately the one that is highly contaminated, and it's not widely recycled as well. Yeah, so they are all like a bunch of combinations of waste. So I guess this is something that that both of the countries can learn about, because it's definitely a big issue. Because if, let's say, there's one day that Malaysia stop importing this plastic waste or any recyclable waste from other countries, then that particular waste might also be sent to other countries like Indonesia or maybe Kenya or Africa. So this is like a non-ending cycle. Yeah, so it's very important for us from like our countries, Malaysia and also Germany or other countries in general, to really start on the preventions, the waste reductions in the first step, and also by improving our recycling infrastructures. So this is not just the problem of other countries, but it's also the problem of our countries. It's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, I would like to say it's almost the wrong way around. I mean, it's not that we should be taking in other countries, or the developing countries should not be taking in the waste created by more well-off countries. We should be sending them to them, since apparently, you know, they are more advanced and they have better technology than us. So it really is the wrong way around. But so it's good to see that during this time that for this project and for Blu Hope, and that the UK government has come in quite strongly to support our efforts, our conservationist efforts, our NGOs. So thank you to the UK government. And I'm hoping also to see other governments bring in finances, technology, and solutions for something really that is, it will not just affect them. It might, if it might affect other countries for a short while, but in the long run, it is going to affect it's going to affect all countries in the world over the time. If we are not going to keep a lid on the amount of plastic that is being generated daily, monthly, yearly at the moment, and growing, especially if you consider the growing population, we are going to be in big trouble in 50 years, 100 years. I can't even imagine. I won't be alive then. But for as long as I am, I will try to do what I can, so as much as you are. So any concluding words from any one of you? Maybe Gedeon would like to chime in just one more time.
Sure, thanks, Maya. I think for us in Zero Waste Malaysia, the message is back to the basic fundamentals on how to do zero waste. And it's also on our website where we can start by refuse, followed by reduce. Next, only we reuse whatever existing things that we already have. Then the solution would be either recycle, and lastly, rot, which also means composting. And I think I would like to take the quote from another zero waste champion or zero waste ambassador, Marie. And she used to say, we don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. So in the essence is we all can do whatever we could. And this is a journey for us. It is not aiming for perfection, like really zero waste. That's the ideal goal. But as long as we can reduce it along the journey, we do our best, and collectively as a community, we could also change the world.
Lovely, Mr. Universe. There is one question that just kind of popped up. Maybe I'll just address that really quickly before we wrap it up for today. One last one. What is your thought to biodegradable plastic products? Now, I'm not sure if that exactly exists. Well, biodegradable plastic products. Plastic in itself is not immediately biodegradable. It will take hundreds and hundreds of years. So I'm not quite sure what he means or she means by that. Maybe any thoughts? Marylyn?
Sure. Yeah, like what you said, I think normally plastic products are photodegradable. Biodegradable plastic products, I think they're, maybe what she meant was biodegradable products which imitate plastic. For example, products that are made out of sugarcane. I mean, I think, yeah, that's probably, who knows if that will be the future or plastic will still be in the picture. But yeah, just be careful when it mentions biodegradable plastic products, because if it is still made out of the plastic resin or plastic elements, it normally, I would think, not entirely biodegradable. For example, if you put in a house compost bin, which is, very, it's not high pressure, it's not very high temperature, it may take a very, very long time to decompose.
Okay, well, for an early morning, this has been quite an interesting discussion. Now we can all go to the mamas and eat our breakfast on the banana leaf. Yeah. So I think thank you everybody, all the panelists, all the organizers, Blu Hope, Green is Green campaign by the UK government. Thank you for participating today. I hope this small discussion has given you some ideas perhaps, or a little inch of more inspiration to do what you can. And it's really, like I said, once again, it is up to all of us, and not just the government, or, I mean, companies are very responsible as well. And just in general, it's great that we are creating education from a younger age, and more young people are starting to become aware and creating their own sort of cleanups, beach cleanups, forest cleanups, waterfall cleanups, all this has to be done, because otherwise, I mean, it's detrimental to our biodiversity, it's detrimental to the beauty of all of our countries and the health and well-being of the people. So there you go. So thank you very much as moderator. Once again, my name is Karin. Thank you so much for having been with us. And hopefully we will see each other in person, and not only me and the panelists, but I mean everybody who's watching. And we can get together for events, seminars, and there will be no disposable forks and spoons or plates. I shall guarantee it, or I will not attend. It's quite interesting. And again, just quickly before I close, and because I have this platform, I've often attended events that with the noble aim of conservation, sustainability, whatever subject it may be. Again, the environment it's like an entire huge spectrum of things. But there's been many times where I attend an event and suddenly at the VIP table, I see a whole table full of water bottles, plastic water bottles, of course. But I've also seen a great change in the last 12 months alone, where a lot of government sessions or seminars, meetings, forums, they have now decided, let's go with water dispensers, everybody bring their own water bottles. Water bottles itself, if we can tackle that issue, it would help us a lot. So once again, thank you, Marylyn. Thank you, Suyi. Thank you, Gedeon, and thank you for everybody who organized and coordinated today's session. So,
thank you, Maya. Thank you, everyone.
Yep. Thanks, Maya, for hosting, and Edix and Blu Hope for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.